In this video, we are going to solve an integration problem using integration by parts formula. Okay, the problem is evaluate the integral of secant to the fifth x dx. And the formula for integration by parts is given here. So if we are taking integral of secant to the fifth x dx. Now see that it is just one term. In the integrand is just one term. We can rewrite it as integral of secant cube x secant square x dx. Now you may notice that we already know that the derivative of tangent x is equal to secant square x. So in this, that is going to be our v prime of x. So this has to be our u of x. Therefore, we have u of x equals secant cube x, which implies that u prime of x is. So using the power rule for functions, we get, for derivative, we get 3 secant square x times the derivative of secant, which is secant x tangent x, right? In other words, this is 3 secant to the fourth, secant cube, not to the fourth, secant cube x tangent x. Now, if we take our v prime, as we said is equal to secant square x. That means v of x is tangent x, because the derivative of tangent is secant square. Therefore, integral of secant cube, integral of secant to the fifth x dx is u of x and v of x. That means secant cube x tangent x minus the integral of u prime, which is 3 secant cube x tangent x times v of x times tangent x dx. So this gives us secant cube x tangent x minus the integral 3 integral of secant cube x tangent square x dx. Now, you may also recall that tangent square x is secant square x minus 1. So we can replace it there with replacing this with secant square x minus 1, and simplifying will give us secant cube x here, tangent x, minus 3. Now, we have secant cube times secant square, integral of secant to the fifth x dx, okay, minus integral of secant cube x dx. Okay, so see that we have a minus sign in front of the 3 here. So this integral of secant to the fifth x dx is equal to secant cube x tangent x minus 3 integral of secant to the fifth x dx plus 3 integral of secant cube x dx. Now, you may notice that on the left-hand side, we have integral of secant to the fifth x dx. The second term on the right-hand side is 3 times or negative 3 times the integral of secant to the fifth x dx. So we can move we can add in 3 integral to secant to the fifth x dx and to get 4 integral secant to the 5th x dx equals secant to the third x tangent x plus 3 integral secant cube x dx. So it means that if we can find the integral of secant cube x dx, we are done. And we are going to proceed the same way. Integral of secant cube x dx, we can write it as integral of secant x tangent x, or can write as integral of secant x secant square x dx. So this again will be our v prime of x, and in this case this is our u of x. So this implies that we get u of x equals secant x. It means that u prime of x is secant x tangent x. V prime of x equals secant square x. It means that v of x is tangent x. So that means this is in secant x tangent x minus integral of secant x tangent x dx. So tangent x is what? Tangent square x. So this is secant x tangent x minus integral of secant x tangent square x dx. So again, this is secant square x minus 1. So that will give us integral of secant cube x dx plus integral of secant x dx. Now see, because if you replace tangent square with secant square minus 1, you get secant x times secant square give you secant cube x. And you have a minus in front, they will keep the minus in front of the integral. And then you get secant x times negative 1, which is negative secant x. But then with the negative in front, it changes to plus. So secant x tangent x here. Now, so this is the integral of secant cube x tangent x, secant cube x dx. So it means that 2 integral of secant cube x dx is secant x tangent x plus integral of secant x dx. Because if you add the integral of secant cube x to both sides, we get on the left 2, and on the right the term negative integral secant cube x dx disappear. Now, and we know that the integral of secant x is ln of absolute value of secant x plus tangent x, then plus constant. So this is secant x tangent x. It means that integral dividing both sides by 2. So this was 2 secant cube x dx. Dividing by 2 secant cube x dx, then integral becomes 1/2 of secant x tangent x plus ln of secant x plus tangent x secant x plus tangent x plus constant. Parenthesis close here. So finally, remember we are integrating secant to the 5th. We got 4 secant to the 5th. 4 integral secant to the 5th dx equals. So we had 4 integral secant to the 5th x dx equals, okay, secant cube tangent x plus 3 secant integral of secant cube x, secant cube tangent x, so secant cube x tangent x plus 3 integral of secant cube x dx. Okay, and we also have integral of secant cube x dx equals 1/2 of secant x tangent x plus ln. So we replace that, and so plus 3 times 1/2 secant x tangent x plus ln of, okay, was it minus? Let's double check. Okay, yes, it is plus. Okay, ln of secant x plus tangent x plus constant. Can't keep the constant term there, so we have secant cube x tangent x here. So now dividing by 4, we obtain integral of secant 5 x dx equals 1/4 secant cube x tangent x plus 3/8, okay, secant x tangent x plus 3/8 ln of secant x plus tangent x plus constant. And that is the integral that we were looking for.